So, comment on the last video about things I don't like. Someone asked for me to talk about things I like. So, now I know by the last video it just kind of seems like I'm a big baby. But there are things I like. There are things I like doing. There are like things I just like that are material-wise. Like, I like Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I'm not wearing a Pokemon shirt today, but I do genuinely like Pokemon. It's fun. It's a game that I've loved for years, something that I've always really had a close attachment to. I just don't talk about it a lot. If you go back a little bit in the channel, you'll kind of see like one or two Pokemon videos here and there, but not a lot. Mainly, I like the game. I mean, I have Sword and Shield. Yes, both. I enjoyed Sword. I'm finishing up now, but I haven't played through Shield yet. I'm going to after I play through Sword, but I'm going to do that a little bit different. I'm going to play through with a different starter for Sword. I picked the fire starter. I won't go into it. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to go over a full review. Well, I'll finish this up because it's almost done. But for Shield, I'm going to flip a coin between the water and grass starter. Because I do like Grookey, because I'm a drummer who does this, and that's my only, it's the only thing I know. After over 10 years of drumming, that's it. That's all I've learned. But, I don't know if I like Grookey or Sobble. I don't know. So I have to play with both of them and find out. What are some things I like besides like going in games? I love Minecraft. I actually have a couple types of modded Minecraft. The new Sky Factory has come out. Sky Factory 4, all the mods 3. Like, that stuff's just awesome. Like, I love stuff like that. I love playing it. I love being in it. Playing with mods on Minecraft is one of those things that you just do because it's fun. It's a good time, and it really does add some more enjoyment to the games themselves. But on top of that, I love playing all sorts of games. My favorite is puzzles. Like, I'm trying to get through The Witness right now on my Xbox. It's frustrating. But I also like games that are kind of punishing. Now, I don't use the word difficult for games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and even Fallen Order, Jedi Fallen Order to a lesser extent. I use the word challenging. It's a game that has, because the big thing about Dark Souls is a lot of people think it's the bosses, and like you play through the game once, if you're never played it before, yeah, it would seem like the bosses are what is the challenge, but no, it's actually getting to the bosses that are the challenge. When you learn that, bosses are kind of easy for the most part, except a few of them. There are some that they just kind of go ham on and they just let loose. But on top of that, I just like playing them. They're a challenge. They're part of what makes me know that, hey, I'm not as good at games as I ever want to be. When you play easier games, you're like, dude, I'm like fucking great, bro. Whoever you say that to. But then you go into it and you are not that good, and you do get your shit rocked, and you get you get the floodgates open on games like Dark Souls, to a lesser extent Bloodborne, and even lesser extent Fallen Order, because Bloodborne to me was a bit easier than Dark Souls. But Souls is also just a different style versus Bloodborne versus Fallen Order, which is an even different type of style. They all have their own way of playing. Now, this isn't me comparing. I would put some comparisons to Fallen Order and Dark Souls, but I'd put them in the challenge aspect. The enemies have certain things you have to know are going to happen so that you can make light or deal with them, so to speak. Stuff like that. I like complex game mechanics. I enjoy stuff like that because it makes the game a game. It's not just, oh, go here, jump here, do that, hit the Goomba, whatever. Yes, I am kind of crushing on Mario a little bit. I am putting down Mario a little bit. It's a wonderful game. I love the Mario games, but they're simple. They're platformers. I'm not a huge platformer. Like the game like Celeste. That's a really fun platformer, because you have to really think and work towards it. And I genuinely like Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I love that game. And that's not a high-praised game, and for good reason. It's not that great of a game. I can sit back and say that, whether I like it or not. Same thing with music. I love music. There's all sorts of music that I like. I mean, my favorite band is Slipknot. That's one of my favorite bands ever. And I know there's a bit of a following that doesn't like Slipknot for various reasons, and that's okay. I'm not going to tell you to like them. You like who you like. The thing that gets me is when someone tells me not to like a band based on their views, not my own. And now I don't see Slipknot as a bad band, and they're not really bad guys. I mean, they're kind of stupid. Sid especially has done some dumb shit. But overall, they're not bad people. It just makes them... They make music. That's in a genre that not a lot of people listen to. When I was growing up, nu metal's kind of gotten a bit more traction as it's gone on, but bands like Mushroomhead and Slipknot came out a little bit earlier than it needed. I think they came out a little bit too early, and they missed the wave. And then a bunch of different nu metal stuff, which is not... It's more industrial than nu metal, if I'd be honest. It's got more of that industrial feel, but it's got the nu metal like weirdness, you know, kind of going into that. But music wise, there's a challenge I made for myself a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago at this point, when I was like 15, where I had to find at least 5 artists in a genre that I enjoy, in every genre. No, I don't get to cut out genres because I didn't like a thing. That's one of my other rules. Do not judge a genre based on a band. I am not a fan of Sleeping with Sirens. Never have been. Not really a fan of them at all. It's just kind of tone and the voice and all that stuff. The Kellen Quinn's tonal voice, it just doesn't vibe with me. Not a bad singer. I can't say he's a bad singer because he's not. For instance, another artist that is notoriously hated is Justin Bieber. I'm not a huge fan only because I just don't vibe with it. Not my cup of tea. Not my realm of like. I don't really like that stuff too much. It's that very, very pop, very electric with music at the back, adding little things here and there. But it's just that kind of musical stuff, not my taste. Again, not saying it's bad. I can't say it's bad because he's got a good voice and he's a competent songwriter. He can play guitar, piano, drums. He plays a good range of instruments, and I wish he would get back to playing more of those. I'd probably listen to more stuff, but he's just not. And well, I get it. It's a little bit easier, and he's a kid, so make it simple. But the thing that I always try to remember in music is it's a personal thing. It's always a personal taste. And my personal tastes lie everywhere. Like, I love stuff like the Tubes and Talking Heads and the Eagles. And I know those aren't in the same area. But also like ABBA. ABBA's a wonderful group. I love them. They make dope-ass music, and they were one of the most influential bands ever. Along with The Who. Rolling Stones, the Ramones, the Romantics, I think other bands, like Accept's a band that a lot of people talk about. My uncle loves them, and I do love them to an extent. But then we're going into like stuff like Queen, one of my favorite Queen songs, Radio Gaga, one of the coolest songs I think ever. It's so different and crazy and cool, and I mean, obviously Bohemian Rhapsody, it's just a nuts song. Music is one of those things that I know a lot about, and I don't give off that vibe. Because I don't look like a musician. Well, I mean, I probably do. But I don't look like a guy who knows a lot. I listen to a lot of, post-hardcore, metalcore, screamo, stuff like that. So it kind of goes in there like, the thing I get is you don't understand music. And then I'll put on Sinatra, and they're like, oh, okay. I do like Frank Sinatra. One of my favorite songs by him was Witchcraft. It's one of the coolest, older songs that I've really liked. Bing Crosby's another really good singer. He's just really good at singing. He's got a unique voice. Same thing with Elvis Presley, awesome voice. Johnny Cash. Going into that, I mean, Conway Twitty, I'm not as big of a fan of. He was just a bit too monotone for my taste. But George Jones, going on to him, he was really good. George Jones, Hank Williams, and Hank Williams Jr. Not a big fan of Hank 3. I think he's a bit of a bastard. But again, can't fault him for playing what he wants to play. I mean, if I do want to make a video where I go extensively into talking about music that I like and things about music that I like and dislike, but in this video I think I'm going to keep it there because I think this segment's long enough as it is. Besides that, I like cars. I really like cars. Years ago, I was into cars. I've always kind of liked them because I think they're cool. They're a machine that shows the power of man, what we can do. Cars showcase the things man can do. I think I said that already. But it's a point of what we can do, what we can make, what we can create as a society, as a people. And it can showcase a bunch of things. It can showcase competition, and it can bring out the best in some engineers, the Ford versus Ferrari, that movie that's out now, and that one of the greatest car stories in the world. I love that story so much. And if you don't know it, it's really good. I think one of the best ways to hear it, in my opinion, is on the Up to Speed on the Ford GT done by Donut Media. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful video. James Pumphrey's really cool. He cries in it. But it's cars are awesome. One of my favorite cars ever is the Toyota Supra. I love the Supra. I think it's an awesome car. I think it's one of the coolest cars ever. But then I met Onyx Ranger and everything changed. He showed me this whole new world of cars that I didn't even understand or could know. This big world of knowing that there's such things as JDM versus American motors, and you can do all these modding, and what a difference between a turbo and a supercharger are, and understanding like just a lot more about the engine and the wheelbase and cars, and knowing what some of these terms actually mean, so I know what I'm hearing when I'm listening to it. Now, I'm not competent enough to go into a conversation and be like, yeah, dude, got a good wheelbase, you know? But like, I can understand why there is such need for an open diff versus an LSD. An open differential or a limited slip differential. For those noobs, there's a lot of things I like. It's hard to kind of address everything. I like exercising. I like running, especially. Running was one of my favorite things ever, and it still kind of is. There's a second wind you get when you're a runner that you just can't shake, and you love it. And it's something that I've always had, but I didn't know because I was a sprinter. I was never a distance runner, and then I ran distance in cross country in high school, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm really tired, and then that second wind would kick in, and I'm like, let's fucking go, you know? It's something that athletes get, and that, you know, serious athletes like to have, but I work out very seldom anymore based on my gut. But I would really like to get back to working out a lot more and actually doing stuff, actually like moving and working out and running and doing stuff. But, you know, I've smoked for a lot of years, and I don't exercise, and I eat terribly, so I'm out of shape. Oh, and I drink beer, which is terrible for people who want to exercise. I like animals, all kinds. One of my favorite animals is a snake. Yes, snake. More specifically, the African boa constrictor. Gorgeous. I want one so bad, but they're very hard to maintain and can kill you. So I'd rather not, because I am terrified. Another thing I like is my job. I'm a chemical dependency counselor's assistant, or a CDCA. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not explaining it. If you're in social work, you might know what that is. If you're a case manager, hi. Case managers, please comment below. Tell me how many times you've had a fun run-in with a CDCA. Please, because there's always a good story. Always a good story. Trust me, if you have any friends who are a case manager, ask them if they've had to run in with a CDCA. If they've ever had to talk to a CDCA about a patient or a client of any kind. You might, they may be like, what is that? Or you might be like, they might be like, oh, listen to this. It's a fun time, trust me. I mean, it's hard, like I said, it's hard to go over everything I like. But as far as it goes, I think this actually gave me a good idea for the next few videos that I'm going to do. And the next video, the next video you're going to see is actually going to be a video I'm doing with my cousin and maybe his girlfriend if she allows it, if she's okay with that. I don't know if she wants to actually be on video for anything, but I'd really like her to be, but it'll be fun. Trust me, it'll be fun. It'll be a cool little video, and it'll just be a good time. So until that day comes, I hope you like, subscribe, and do all that stuff. But anyways, we've got work to do.